All right, let's get ready to rock. What's good? What's good? What's good? You are tuned into Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me in effect with me today. I got my brother Eddie out of LA. What's going on, good brother?
Yeah, I'm good, Kill.
All right, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. I got JR, and you know if JR is here, he is sipping on something out that red cup. What's going on, good
Friday.
brother?
It's my Friday. I'm going in tonight. Let's
No doubt, no doubt. My brother JP out of Queens. What's going on, good brother?
What's going on, brother?
Everything is good. Everything is good. My man Jay Bishop checking in out of Tokyo. What's going on, fam?
It's all good. Just morning here, so I'm sipping on coffee.
There you go. There you go. It's all good. It's all good. Look, the other day we had done a show, just doing an R&B show real quick and everything like that. And, you know, was going to do a quick tribute to Andre Harrell. And then I realized you can't do no quick tribute to Andre Harrell. Like, you know, the dude deserves so much more. So that's what today's show is going to be about. A salute show to Andre Harrell, everything he's done. We're going to be looking at our favorite memories, favorite acts, albums, everything about Andre and Uptown. Just wanted to do a quick rundown because there's a lot of younger folk out there who watch the show who, you know, I don't know where you got on the Andre Harrell bandwagon, but just want to go down a quick rundown. He started in a rap group as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Actually, Genius Rap sampled like one of my favorite joints called Genius of Love from the Tom Tom Club. They was on Profile Records. Now, Profile Records is famous for being Run DMC's home label, but they were actually on Profile before that. Second single, AM to PM, was produced by Larry Smith. If y'all don't know, Larry Smith is one of the illest producers ever. Houdini, Run DMC, so much Orange Crush, so much of the stuff that started with Rush Associated labels and Russell and what he was doing in the 80s is crazy. I mean, Larry Smith, you talking about so much great stuff. So Larry did that. In '83, he stopped doing all of that hoopla with the rapping and started rocking with Russell Simmons. He became the vice president and eventually the GM of Def Jam, but then he eventually bounced to start Uptown Records. The first joint he put out from Uptown was my first memory, which we'll talk about later. It was a compilation album called Uptown's Kicking It. Had Heavy D, had Chill, Groove Beat Chill, Finessence and Quiz. Marley Marl, you know, some people don't even know Marley was down with Uptown, you know, so that was on there. Next album was Heavy D's Living Large, and the next one was Albie Shores in Effect Mode. Then Guy's debut album, it just kept growing from there. In '92, MCA gave Harrell a multimedia deal. He started doing New York Undercover, produced one of my favorite old school movies back in the day, Strictly Business, with Halle Berry. That had a banging soundtrack to it too. And then one of the dopest things was in '90, Puff started interning with him. That's when they started working with Mary, Jodeci, Father MC. '93, Harrell fires Puff. He starts Bad Boy. And kind of sort of that's when that's kind of started what some people call like the downhill ride of Uptown after that. Jodeci started rocking with Death Row and Suge Knight. Mary got put on MCA. '95, he went over to take over Motown. Hep took over Uptown in '97. But then he left and eventually Uptown just dissolved into Universal Records. So that's kind of like a quick little rundown of everything that this man has done from we going back to 81, 82, all the way up to what, 97. You know what I mean? So that's a hell of a run in the game that most people only get 3 to 4 or 5 years of a run. The first thing we're going to talk about is your first memories of Andre Harrell. And for me, my first memories of Andre Harrell was, like I said earlier, the Uptown's Kicking It compilation album. I love that joint. I remember the video. If you ever seen the video, it's a young Nelson George in the video, who's a accomplished author. One of my favorite books ever, The Death of Rhythm and Blues, is Nelson George. Hip Hop America is Nelson George. Where Does the Love Go On? The Story of Motown, Nelson George. So he's in the video. Just a very old school video. I loved it. In the video, Groove Beat Chill, the Brothers Black, Woody Rock, Marley Marl. It's funny, they all take turns trying to scratch on the turntable and everything like that. So just dope things. And then my favorite joint on there was this Finesse and Sequence joint called Bass Game. Old school hip hop, Bass Game, crazy. One of my favorite first rap songs. Because like I said, we're dealing with 86. I'm only 12 years old, so I'm still a shorty. I'm in middle school, and I just loved it. So That's my first personal memory of Andre Harrell. Jay Bishop, what is your first memory of Andre Harrell and finding out about Uptown Records?
Like you, the Uptown is kicking it, but not the album. I remember the video per se and him busting through the doors and schooling the white people on what's hot on the street. So that's my first real memory of Andre Harrell. I'm like, okay, because I kind of knew about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't really follow it, but he made you take notice of him with that video.
Right.
Because he put himself front and center as, look, I'm trying to change the game.
Right. No doubt. What about you, JP?
I guess for me it was AM/PM because I love that record. AM/PM all night long. Turn your radio up because we are on that. I remember that specifically, like being a big. Like, I love that joint. So I don't think I made the connection though that was the same person with Uptown's kicking it. Because like Jay Bishop, I remember the video, him busting in the conference room and all that with all the artists and. You know what I'm saying? So those are my initial memories of Andre Harrell.
All right, no doubt. What about you, JR?
Mine actually was MTV Unplugged when he was actually talking about each of his artists and why he created Uptown and all that good stuff. So that was really my first memory of him. You know what I'm saying? But then I had to go back and then the video when I think of him busting through, the thing, and he's like, this is Uptown, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I remember. But my first memory is definitely MTV Unplugged when he was talking about, all the acts that he had.
All right, no doubt. What about you, Eddie?
Yeah, man. I don't actually remember that Uptown.
Is kicking it.
Yeah, my first memory. I mean, not necessarily him, but of the Uptown label, when I started paying attention was probably like the early Jodeci and Mary J albums when I was really noticing the labels, or like, the tapes my sister had, because she was, older. But yeah, I remember that. Nothing like, I remember the Who's a Man soundtrack, which came after that, which was also kind of like a Uptown compilation, a lot of Uptown artists on there. But yeah, not directly. Andre.
All right, no doubt. So now we're gonna chop it up about is on Uptown. You've had a rack of artists. I mean, we got Christopher Williams, Father MC, Finesse and Sequist, Ruby Shill, Guy, Heavy D, Jeff Redd, Jodeci, Little Sean, Mary J, McGruff. People forget about McGruff, JP. I know you remember McGruff.
I remember McGruff.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Forget about McGruff. People act like there wasn't no hip hop on there. You got Monifa, So For Real, Lost Boys, and the Girls. Who were three of your favorite acts on Uptown Records and why? Jay Bishop, who were three of your favorite acts on Uptown and why?
We doing acts or we doing albums?
We doing acts first. First acts.
Well, Guy will always be my number one because of Teddy Riley and his legacy and all the sound that he introduced. So that will always be just the top for me. Heavy D. I think that Heavy D was a unique individual in rap, and he had a style and a swagger about him, and he presented himself in a way that I think is kind of missing today. I mean, there hasn't really been a rapper quite like Heavy D since he passed. So I think he is very unique. And I think Mary J has definitely made an impact in the game, and she will, when it's all said and done, she's gonna go down as, a Hall of Fame R&B act, no doubt.
All right, no doubt. What about you, JP?
For me, just like Jay Bishop, Guy is first for Teddy Riley. Like, Teddy Riley's in my top 5 producers all time. Very influential in my life as far as production is concerned. So, but before I even started making music, just as a fan, and when New Jack Swing started pop, that first Guy album is a straight up classic, like classic. So Guy's number one.
Well,
Mary's
JP, hold on for a sec. We talking Guy album. Did Aaron say dumb bitch?
Yes, he did.
I don't
Okay, David.
Yeah, he did.
think so.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Okay. All right. What about you, Eddie? You think he said it?
I have no idea.
All right.
Probably
Talking
so.
about
Probably.
Aaron.
He
Yeah,
said it twice.
And for people,
he said it twice.
and for people listening, back in my day, there was always the rumor that Aaron Hall on A Piece of My Love says dumb bitch. If you need to know where it is, the song starts. You can have a piece of my love, dumb bitch, waiting for you. So he says something. Now I don't know if it's dumb bitch, but he says something. He does say it.
He say dumb bitch.
He said,
All
and
right.
he says it again on the fade out. On the fade out. On the fade out, he goes, dumb bitch.
Now, here's the thing, y'all. I want everybody out there who has never heard this rumor, because this rumor was right up there with, Alfonso Ribeiro killed himself trying to do a suicide breakdance move, and what was it? It was Ralph Lauren don't want niggas wearing this stuff, and Big Daddy Kane had AIDS. And this rumor is right up there with all those wonderful rumors. So go home, listen to Piece of My Love. Y'all tell me, did y'all really say
dumb bitch?
I didn't even know about the Jay Bishop fade out dumb bitch. I didn't even know about that one. So now I got to go listen 35 years later to figure this one out. So everybody out there, here's your homework on Guy. Find out if you said dumb bitch or not. My bad, JP. What else you got?
Yeah, so I mean, for the second one is definitely Mary, because of how influential she was to the game, and another one as far as those albums being so influential on my production style initially. So I have to go with Mary for the second, and Heavy D. Just like Jay Bishop said, Heavy D to me was he was really the core of Uptown Records.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Mary, it wasn't Jodeci, it was Heavy D. To me, Heavy D was like the flagship artist, so to speak, of that label. Right. And he did so much for the game. I mean, everybody knows. If you don't know, Google Heavy D for the youngers. But I have to go with Heavy D as well.
All right, no doubt. Who you got, JR? I know. Well, we know who your number one is. But just for sure, right. Just
actually, my list is the same as JP and Jay.
Okay, well, just
Heavy D.
Right. But I'm assuming Mary comes first, though.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
really?
Oh, snap!
That is shocking, though.
I gotta give it to Guy. I gotta give it to Guy as the first.
Okay.
I'm giving Guy as first because that debut album is just woo. No. And then I gotta give it to Heavy. I give Mary last because, like JP said, Heavy D is kind of like the glue of Uptown.
Right.
So what I'm saying? If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have had Mary. So that's why I give it to Guy and Heavy first.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm blown. If I had glasses, I would take them off right now. If I had glasses, I would take them off because I knew Mary was coming first. I knew Mary was coming first.
About my life yet, because Jay ain't gonna say nothing crazy yet.
No doubt. Eddie, what you got for your top three fave Uptown artists?
I got Heavy D up there for sure. Just for all the things that JP was saying. I mean, I feel like he was definitely represented. I mean, he had a crazy stretch, you know what I mean, and how he evolved. He evolved and still stayed dope. You know what I mean? And so influential. I mean, I feel like he's one of the most underrated hip hop artists in history, because people forget the impact he had. It's crazy. So I got Mary J right there in my number two. For personal, I think her music had more of an impact on me, like at my age. That third spot, probably Guy, but it's right there between Guy and Jodeci.
Okay.
Guy obviously came first. They had that impact, but Jodeci, I feel like I listen to their music more.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no doubt. And for me, it starts with Heavy D for everything everybody said. I think JP, you said it perfect, that he's like the flagship. Like I look at Heavy D as what people would say Big was the bad boy. You know what I mean? Bad Boy went on to have great success and do other things with other artists. But to me, when I think of Bad Boy, I don't care how many years later it is, it's always going to be, you know, Biggie. You know what I mean? And I think that's Heavy D. The funny thing is about Heavy D is a lot of times after Big, everybody would be like, oh, okay, Jay-Z's trying to follow the Big formula and do the radio song and do the street song. And, you know, that was Puffy's thing. I believe that started with Heavy D. You know what I mean? So whereas a lot of people are like, oh, that started with Biggie. I'm like, well, really, Heb was doing that. You know what I mean? Heb would hit you with the, you know, the radio song and then turn around and hit you with, you know, the You Can't See What I Can See. You know what I mean? Or so Heb to me was like the first MC to really be able. It's like Q-Tip said on Don't Curse, you know, to have, you know, what you say, my mom's is the Heb Bubbly B is a favor of my mama. Like everybody loved Heavy D. Like people's parents who didn't even like rap music liked Heavy D, you know. So you would be hard pressed. Like I never like to use the word hate, but I almost feel like if you ain't like Heavy D, you just hate. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but how could you not like Heavy D? You know what I mean? The cat put Mount Vernon on the map. I remember buying Living Large and being like, what's money making Mount Vernon? I ain't never heard of Mount Vernon. And then, you know, they do the video and Salt and Pepper driving up to the gas station like, yo, we lost. We trying to get the Mount Vernon. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yo, this dude, I always got respect for people who could put someplace that nobody knew about on the map. You know what I mean? Like, and we give Wu-Tang respect for doing that for Shaolin. We give Griselda respect for doing that for Buffalo. I don't feel like we give Heavy D enough respect for putting Mount Vernon on the map. Because out of Mount Vernon, you got Pete CL, you got Puff is out of Mount Vernon. So there was a lot of talent up there in Mount Vernon. The one that nobody ever says, man, this album, I love this album. Like, this is maybe the top 10 album of all time for me. And I know it was an in and out because his second album wasn't that great, but like, yo, I absolutely love, you know, what you laughing at, Jay Bishop? What you got?
Is that I'll Be Sure?
I'm like, don't read ahead.
Yeah, it's I'll Be Sure.
I'm gonna talk about that in a minute.
Because we talking about artists, not albums.
These are just artists. These are just artists. Yeah. But I felt like I'll Be Sure was there too, because when this came out in what, 87, like this was it right here. This was like everything on here. Night and Day, Ooh, This Love Is So, The Killer. I like everything on here. I love to death. And then the last one, it would be definitely Mary, you know, for everything that she's done. I mean, when we'll get more up on it, but I mean, from you guys talking about Guy, I mean, like Uptown basically started 2 genres of music, you know what I mean? Which is amazing right there in itself. Like, you know, you're talking about New Jack Swing, like, and I don't know, Jay Bishop, I know you're really big on, you know, the backstories of R&B. Has anybody really ever asked Teddy, like, how did you do this? Like, he started a whole entire genre of music, you know, that everybody went on to want to do. So has anybody ever heard, like, has Teddy ever talked about how this even started? Like, what was it, a mistake? Was it were just the sounds I was using?
I know that the term New Jack Swing came from, I believe, Barry Michael Jenkins. Yeah, who was a journalist who gave the birth to the term New Jack Swing. But Teddy just started making music in his bedroom. Yeah, and just from he wanted to be able to do R&B with break beats was basically what he was going for. So being able to sample break beats and then put his chords over the top of it and created that sound. And I don't think his intention was to, like, I'm going to make a new genre. It's just something that organically occurred.
Right.
But yeah, he just started from just trying to put basically gospel chords, because he was, you know, he played in the church. So just basically put gospel chords over top of break beats.
Right. Which is crazy because, you know, that just influenced everything from there on out. And then on top of that, you got with Mary, just the whole hip hop soul thing. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of that is borrowed from what mixtape DJs was doing in New York with Ron G and Kid Capri and just taking it to a bigger level. But, you know, that started something totally new. You know what I mean? So, yeah, those are my 3 artists: I'll Be Sure, Mary, and Heavy D. So let's talk about your top 3 favorite albums from Uptown. Jay is. Jay. What is it? Because I'm waiting for you to go, bro.
He got his hands on it.
No, he's ready. He's ready.
No,
But here's the thing, JR. He's talking about his favorite, so I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah, I'm not. No.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to say
You safe.
Jay, go ahead.
All right, what you got, Jay Bishop? Top 3 favorite albums from
My
Uptown.
top 3 albums, you was talking about the I'll Be Sure, so that's definitely one of them.
All right, and why? Why?
Because I don't think there's a bad song on that album.
Right.
I think that album is it goes from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it had a unique sound to it. A lot of people don't give Kyle West.
Yes, come on.
But there's nothing else that really sounds like that album. Like the drums on Rescue Me, I still sample them drums today.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I haven't heard any drums that really sound like that on any other.
You go deep. Y'all said Rescue Me. Okay, my bad.
So yeah, that's number 1. Number 2 was not. Yeah, that's one of them. The other one is the First Guy album. That's my number 1 all-time Uptown album because that's a perfect album.
Mm-hmm.
That album is perfect from beginning to end. And the third one, now I struggled with this third one. It was between What's the 411 and Diary of a Mad Band.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And really, I'm choosing Diary of a Mad Band.
You would.
I believe what's the 411? Listen, I believe what's the 411 is the better album.
Okay.
Because we all know Jodeci can't do fast songs. So the second half of Diary of a Mad Band is kind of
That's real.
But the first half of Diary of a Mad Band, I just listen to that shit over and over and over again. And the way that album sounds sonically, it just edges it right over what's the 411, just based on how the first half of that album sounds. So I got to give it to that. But what's 411? Honorable mention.
Yo, tell me this. I always wonder, why doesn't Jodeci just do a 112 and just make a whole album of just slow jams? Like, what was it with the A&R of the Genius Puff that nobody ever just realized? Because I'm with you, Jay, but them first 5 songs, that's the album to me. Like, I don't even know what comes after that. You know, outside of Let's Go Through the Motions, which was off the Who's the Man soundtrack, to me, that's Jodeci's only dope, fast song, you know? And it's kind of like, bro, like, yo, you can't hit the jumper. Just keep passing the rock then. Like, just make all slow jams. We'll remix it.
You know,
I get on up. That's more of a mid-tempo.
Yeah, get on up is like mid-tempo. You know what I mean? But Jodeci was never gonna make something like God to shut down the club like Groove Me could do. Like,
you know how you said in one of the podcasts, you was like, yo, everybody knows side A of Forever My Lady, but nobody talks about side B at all.
Yo, you can play me a new Jodeci song right now from 1991 because I ain't never heard side B Forever My Lady. You know what I mean? But I just always wonder, why don't these dudes just make a whole slow jam? That's why I love 112's first album. It's like all slow jams. It's like, you ain't like 112's first album? Neither here nor there. It's an Uptown show. We'll talk about that later.
I think they want it to be in the club.
They wanted to, yeah.
Like, I mean, their whole presence. They had the hat backwards, the baggy jeans.
Yeah,
they make slow jams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it got to be something else. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I don't know when they was able to get away with them remixes because the Come and Talk to Me remix, like that's what I meant. Make slow songs, then remix them for the club.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. JP, top 3 albums from Uptown.
My Life, of course. You know.
Yes, Jay.
Like it's just because, you know, it's like I studied that album. Like I specifically remember listening to that album over and over and over when we was at Morgan. Like that was my album. So the guy self-titled first album, because like Jay Bishop said, it was a perfect album from beginning to end. You know, even the Timmy Gatlin song. You know what I'm saying? Like that song, incredible. You know what I mean? Like good stuff. So, and the third one is In Effect Mode by I'll Be Sure. I had it on my list. Like that automatically went down because that's another album I played over and like Kyle West and Al B. Like production, like I don't think Al B. Sure gets his credit for songwriting and production, like because he's like Forever My Lady he wrote that record. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets his props. So In Effect Mode was just incredible to me. Like I feel.
Did he break up?
Yeah, he frozen for a second. Give it a sec. All right, JR, what are your joints? What's your top 3?
Guys, debut, period. And y'all know what the next 2 are gonna be. What's the 411 in my life, period.
All right, no doubt. I know you got the period on it, but what would you say is what is it about those 2 albums? Like what was it that just cemented it for you? Because Mary's your favorite artist. So like what cemented it? Like what
Okay, yeah. When What's the 411 came out, it really bridged the gap between R&B and hip hop because my dad was such a hip hop head and my mom is such an R&B head. So it was like my mom would be playing R&B and my dad wouldn't like it. And my dad would be playing hip hop and my mom would be like, she cool with it, but it wasn't her thing. So finally, when it was time to play Mary, it was like, oh, my dad was like, I can rock to this because a lot of it was, with some hip hop beat. You know what I'm saying? So for that, it kind of connected me to my mom and my dad. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of What's the 411 worked for me. And then when it came to my life, that album kind of touched me because it was like during that time, it was like, me and mom was definitely going through some things. So it was like, we was able to sing out what we were going through. So that album really, really touched us. And God, that album to me, I feel like if you want to talk about New Jack Swing, that's the best New Jack Swing album, period. Because from beginning to end, you can play that joint and you ain't got to skip a record. Like JP said, even the Tim, what's his name?
Gatlin.
Yeah. You ain't even got to even like that joint. It's like whatever, you know what I'm saying? But that album, I feel like, is the best New Jack Swing album. Everybody kind of goes to Bobby and Michael because of the sales, but I don't care. God still is better. It's a better New Jack Swing album than anything. So that's why those 3 come for me.
All right, no doubt. What about you, Eddie? Top 3 Uptown albums.
All right. I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in here.
Okay.
One that has not been named at all. But first, I'm gonna start Mary's My Life. Just
you hear that, Jan? Mm-hmm.
Mary's My Life. No doubt. And probably, you know what? Probably I'm between Forever My Lady and What's the 411, but I feel like What's the 411 is a more complete album. Just like we were talking about. Like I love the first half of Forever My Lady, but it kind of has a drop off. So I'll throw the 2 Mary albums in there. Okay. And my third one, this is the monkey wrench, is Candy Rain by Soul For Real. I feel like that album is just super dope. Like what they did after that, God knows. But that album was
he said God only knows, but that first album, I seen an interview with them up on what's that, Charlemagne and Angela Yee Breakfast Club. Crazy stories about what happened after, but the Soul For Real joint.
I was reading about. I mean, I think they try to push that second album, like right after they finished Candy Rain, they were like pushing the next album, but they didn't promote it. Like it just.
There was some joints on that album too.
That was it.
No, you're saying there were some joints on that album.
The second album, yeah.
Truth be told to me, because I didn't even know there was a second album.
I think Uptown was in turmoil by the time that album came out. So
because I want to say by that time, that's when when Heb was in charge of Uptown, because he's the one who signed Monifa and Soul For Real, right? It was Heb who did that, right? All right, no doubt. And for me, I got again this joint again for everything that everybody's already said about it. Like Jay Bishop said, Kyle West. I'll tell you a funny story. I was listening to Tevin the other day, Alone With You. I love that song. I love that song. I forgot how much I loved that song when it came out. And I was listening to it and I was like, yo, who the fuck did this? And it was Kyle West.
Kyle West.
You know what I mean?
He's so underrated, yo.
Right. And it was just so crazy because I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then, to say that. So like Jay Bishop said, there's not a bad song on here. Everything was just, this was such a dope time to me for R&B because I remember it was Albie Shore, Bobby Brown was on tour, and New Edition was on tour. So it was
I went to their concert.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
That's dope. That's dope. So it's just like, this was such a dope time for R&B. And this is when I first started to really get the buzz for marketing because I was like, oh, that's decent. Everybody's second video is a live concert and they're about to go out on and perform because My Prerogative was a live concert.
Mm-hmm.
What was the New Edition? All white.
Not my kind of girl.
Not my kind of girl was live. And then I forgot which one on here was live. Was it Rescue Me? Yeah, Rescue Me.
Rescue Me.
And that was like the first time I kind of put it together. I was like, oh, okay, I see that. Y'all shooting the videos for the live shows, and now y'all on tour. So that's that. The next one I got is My Life. I mean, for everything we've all said, just the dope album. And
you heard that, Jay?
I mean, I think he's good, JR. I think he's heard it.
Listen. I'm gonna take my drink. I'm sorry.
I'm a fan.
No. But My Life to me, just an incredible album. I mean, JP, I remember walking through McKeldin when Be Happy first came out, and it was just like when that joint was on, it was like McKeldin. That was like the Student Union Center on campus. That shit was almost like a club in there when Be Happy would come.
That song had
I mean,
like when
it did.
I did not like it.
Oh, okay.
Wait, can I ask y'all one question?
What?
Yeah.
Y'all remember that maybe a month before what is it? Scratch came out with I'll Take Her. And they used the same beat.
Yeah.
Right. And then it came out with Be Happy. Right. And then it was like once Mary came out with Be Happy, nobody cared about I'll Take Her.
I'll Take Her. Right.
Why is that?
I mean, I think one, the Ill and Out Scratch, quick side note for 2 seconds to get away from this show. Quick side note. Here's the thing that Ill and Out Scratch taught me because I was up doing 889 at the time. Yeah. What I heard from their label rep was they only had that one song. What was their first song? Creep With Me? Or what was it? Where My Homies. Where My Homies.
Where My Homies. Yeah.
They had that. It was blowing up so much. The label said, yo, y'all got 7 days to make an album. You know what I mean? So they had to make an album in 7 days. And what that taught me was never give the label shit until your album is done. So just in case it blows up, you got your album already done. Here you go. Do what y'all got to do with it. But that's why that album sounded like the way it did was it literally was like, y'all got 7 days to write rhymes, make beats, do all of that. So
Where My Homies was huge.
Right. But that's the thing. Nobody really, I guess, expected it. It was kind of just like, yo, here's a demo. Okay, here's your deal. Here's the song. Oh shit, everybody loves it. Yo, we need an album in 7 days. So that's why the Ill and Out Scratch thing never really panned out like that because they had to do it in 7 days. Another quick story. Trey Lee was on the show a couple of months ago, and he was talking about how he had used that Curtis Mayfield sample too. Puff had already knew about it. Puff's engineer called Trey Lee up like, yo, nigga, guess what Marion here singing to, and put the phone up to the speaker to let him hear Be Happy. You know what I mean? So just an example of,
but
right. I mean, just an example of Puff jacking for beats like Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Just jacking for beats like Ice Cube.
Because just like karaoke, everybody gets a turn.
That was real cute, Jay. That was real. I didn't have a comeback, but that was good.
This dude said, just like karaoke, everybody gets a turn.
He got me, but I owe you one. All right.
And the last one I got is Mary's What's the 411. I mean, same thing. It shifted music. Like for us in Philly, I didn't get to know about Ron G tapes until I got to Morgan in '92 and got down with all my New York people. So I didn't know anything about the break beats and Stephanie Mills, something in the way you make me feel, something in the way you make me feel over, impeach the president. So when I heard Top Billin' with somebody singing over it, bro, my 16, 17-year-old brain exploded. Like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, yo, y'all singing over Top Billin'? So it was then when I got to Morgan and people was like putting me on to the Ron G and the Kid Capri tapes. I was like, oh man, like that's what I always gravitated to, was hearing those R&B songs, the acapellas over them break beats. So What's the 411 was just crazy to me. So those are my 3 albums. Now, here's the thing. A lot of artists, a lot of albums. Give me your slept on albums from Uptown. Jay Bishop, what's a slept on album from Uptown that somebody needs to check out? I don't think My Life is slept on, Jay. I think
I'm just talking about that.
Jay Bishop. I don't think My Life. I don't think karaoke at Bennigan's is gonna make his slept on list either. So I don't think that's gonna make that either.
My choice is the Who's the Man soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yep. Very dope choice.
That is
very dope.
There's so many bops on that motherfucker. Party and Bullshit. Let's go through the motions. What's the Pete Rock? Oh, what's next on the menu?
What's next on the menu?
Oh, them drums. Yeah. So what's next on the menu? Woo! Yeah. So the Who's the Man soundtrack. That's my slept on. If you never heard that, find that album. And it's hard to find. I can't find it on the streaming services.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You have to seek that out. But yeah, that's if you never heard that soundtrack, that's a really good album.
All right, you got anything else?
Going through Heavy D's catalog, I can't say any of his stuff is really slept on, but I think Big Time is a remarkable album. And if anybody was like wanted to say, how do I get into Heavy D? That's the album I would start them with. It's Big Time. I think like, you know, I'm not sure how much props Heavy D gets today, but his catalog is remarkable. And like you said, he pretty much was the face of Uptown because he's consistent. Every one of his albums was consistent. So I would say Big Time should be getting, like, everybody's doing it. This anniversary and this anniversary. I ain't heard about the anniversary of Big Time. That album needs to be celebrated because that's a really good album.
Truth be told, Big Time is the second one, right? Living Large is first. Big Time is second.
Time is the second one.
That was the what was the single on that?
That's Somebody for Me. That's Girls They Love Me.
Yeah.
But what was the single? The first single was
We Got Our Own Thing.
We Got Our Own
Thing. My joke.
Yeah. We got the thing I loved about that video is Eddie F had he had a drum machine in the video. I forgot which one it was, but it was like my eye just shot straight to the drum machine. You know what I mean? So I love the video just for that. And truth be told, that's some of the first Pete Rock beats that we actually got is actually on Big Time. So that's dope too. J Paz, what you got for some slept on albums?
I only have one. And for me, I mean, some people may not think it's slept on, but I really think it is. I think Dive Your Mad Band was slept on. I don't think, I mean, it had, you know, Cry For You was a big single, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like as a whole, I don't hear people talking about that album.
I agree. You
know what I'm saying? Like, and My Heart Belongs to You is probably in my top 3 favorite of Jodeci songs. And one week it could be number 1 because that song right there is incredible. But the album as a whole, and like Jay Bishop talked about sonically, like, you know, like it's a great album. And I don't hear enough people give that album its props just because of the humongous hit slow songs that was on the first album. Like none of the songs on the second album matched the success of the slow songs on the first album, so that's why. But it was still a great album. That's why I think it's slept on.
No, that's a dope point. You really don't hear people talking about it. And like you said, From My Heart Belongs to You, it just went. You know what I mean? So Fiendin', Cry For You, all that stuff.
The way Fiendin' sounds.
Yeah, it's just, I'm talking about the songs that weren't singles.
Right.
Those, it's just, oh my goodness. What About Us? Oh, it's crazy.
And that's early Timberland work.
Yeah.
People don't realize that's early.
Ride and Slide, man. I forgot about Alone. Alone was my shit. You know what I mean? Alone was crazy. Very dope album. The thing that got me was on the cover. I was like, damn, these niggas tatted up. Because JP, you know, back in our day at Morgan, ain't nobody have tattoos. Like, seriously, I always tell a story. Anisha from Brooklyn was the only shorty who I knew with a tattoo on campus. Like, that's the only person who like in a whole black HBCU had a tattoo at the top. You know what I mean? So it was like these niggas is tatted up out here. Like, all right, JR, top 3, or if you have any slept on albums for Uptown.
I do. Moods and Moments with Monifa. I feel like that album is completely slept on, but like you were saying earlier, I think Monifa was on the kind of when Uptown was on the decline. So a lot of people just know, I Miss You. And then, of course, they tried to kind of compare her to Mary. So she had a lot that she had to go through, but that album is dope. You know what I'm saying? With songs like Lay With You, Nobody's Baby, You, You Don't Have to Love Me. Like, that album is dope. And Monifa is singing her face off on that. Another one, Changes by Christopher Williams.
Yeah, very dope album.
That joint is definitely slept on. A lot of people don't talk about that at all. I wish they would have put Every Little Thing You Do, the Tim Dog remix on that album, because I feel like that remix is better than the song, even though the song is cool, but that remix is dope. All I See, he do Come With Me on that joint. Like, he kills that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think, by the time he came in, Mary and Jodeci was kind of like the face of Uptown. So he
I always thought it was interesting. Sorry, Jay. I always thought it was interesting Christopher Williams being on Uptown. For some reason,
he's on Giant at first.
We knew from him before the album.
Right.
It seems like he was trying to fit in a mold that he wasn't really part of. You know what I'm saying?
I think that was a bad move. I don't think he should have went to Uptown, to be honest.
That's how I always felt that way.
Yeah, I don't think he should have, but I think the album is dope, but I don't think he should have went to Uptown, to be honest. I don't think he fit. Right. Like his style and all that didn't fit. And then the one I think y'all probably gonna laugh, to be honest. I actually like Father MC's Close to You album, to be honest.
You know what? I can't laugh because I never heard it.
I probably never heard it.
Really?
I can't even.
Y'all
I
heard the singles, like y'all heard the One Night Stand with him and Mary.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Y'all heard the Everything's Gonna Be All Right with him and Jodeci.
Right.
And then y'all probably heard the Close to You with him and Intro.
I think that's why I panned out. I think that's why I tapped out.
Okay, yeah. I like the album. I actually, my mom brought it. So he would play that. And my dad would be like, cut that shit off. But I liked it. I thought it was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it slept on, but my dad did not like Father MC at all. But I liked it. I think the album really
Father MC was their attempt to make a chocolate half.
Yeah. It was. It really was. They tried to make a Big Daddy Kane out of him, and
right.
Nah, it ain't gonna work. But even though I think that album really pushed Mary and Jodeci, to be honest with you, but I thought the album was cool. Like, I was listening to it today on the way to work, and I was like, all right, this album is all right. So I was like, I'll give Father MC some love. So
you know what? I used to get Father MC and MC Brains mixed up because I just both thought they were so fucking whack. That it was just like, because the funny thing is when you said Father MC, I'm like, isn't that nigga on Biv 10? Like, we talking Uptown. I'm like, nah, that's that nigga fucking MC Brains. Them niggas, you know what that shit is to me? MC Brains and Father MC are like fucking Humpty Hump and Shock G to me. Like, can they be in the same room at the same time?
They don't even look shit alike. What are you
they you know what it was? They was whack enough to be the same person. They were the wackest person on each label. Like, they were like MC Brains was the wackest on Biv 10. To me, Father MC was the wackest on Uptown. They didn't look alike, but the whackness lined right up and like just kept it right there. So
yeah,
but neither.
I got an honorable mention.
Who you got honorable mention?
MTV Unplugged. Okay. I feel like that album is so underrated because I feel like when you saw MTV Unplugged, they missed Christopher Williams. They didn't play him. Yeah. And like, he killed All I See. Like, he killed that joint. And then you didn't see Mary doing Real Love. Like, that MTV Unplugged is dope, and I think a lot of people don't talk about it, and I think that's dope because everybody, when you think about MTV Unplugged, everybody goes to Lately with Jodeci.
Right.
Everybody goes there, but yo, that album is dope. So that's an honorable mention for me.
All right, what you got, Eddie, for slept on albums?
Damn, they took most of mine. I had the Who's the Man soundtrack. I had that Monifa album. I guess the other one I have is Lost Boys, Love, Peace, and Happiness. That album, not as bad. Like I just feel like people forget about that album. The other show I did, I talked about the Legal Drug Money. I don't know if that one was on Uptown. I think that was on Universal or something. But yeah, the Love, Peace, and Happiness was dope. It was really dope. Yeah, for sure.
All right, no doubt. I got a couple of joints in here. First one I got, I'm with you, JR, the Uptown Unplugged album. I had to find this in a pawn shop. They ain't even had the front cover on it, but just the back cover, because I don't think a lot of people even knew this actually came out.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think a lot of people just saw it and they were like, what's up, JR? Nah.
You so undercover with your shadiness, but go ahead.
What did I do?
Go ahead. Kill so smooth with his shit, yo. If you realize what Kill do, he really slick with.
No, it's like word is born. Word is born.
I found it from the dollar joint. They ain't even had a cover with it, but
I'm like, word is born to Jesus. What did I do this time?
It's cool. Go ahead. Kill is real underlying shady with his stuff, but he try to play like, oh nah.
Seriously, word is born to Jesus. What did I do? Like, word is born to Jesus. Like on all these records, like word is born. I didn't do nothing, man.
Go ahead with your stuff. He undercover. Everybody knows this joint. You undercover shady with yours.
JP, what did I do?
Listen, you may not have done that. You may have been genuine now, but because you probably do it so much.
Thank you, JP. Thank you.
That's probably why.
But what did I do?
You didn't do nothing now. I think you were genuine. But because
fine.
You can't tell the difference because you do it so much.
For me saying
that record from the bottom of the dollar bin and not even good enough to help.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Jay Bishop, thank you for breaking that down, because this is where you are 100% wrong. I wasn't saying it in a disrespectful manner. I was saying it more.
You were being disrespectful,
right.
But you underline shady with yours, and you know it.
Let me explain.
You try to play it like, oh nah.
Yo, word is born to Jesus. I'm
you
saying word is born to Jesus
in this, because Jesus already know the shadiness that you want.
No, let me explain. All right, JP, let me explain this to you. The reason why I was saying that was because I'm like, that's a digger brag. Like, you aren't going to find this.
We're not talking about vinyls. We're talking about CDs. Really?
The same thing. Yo, the same thing with CDs, fam. Like, I pride myself on having OG CDs and stuff. Like,
Phil has all the CDs that he had.
This is the OG CD of Mad Lib's Yesterday's New Quintet. You are not finding this anywhere on CD for maybe less than $60. That's all I'm saying. So I'm just saying, if you really want this album, you are going to buy this. You are going to have to, right? Like, I am at the damn pawn shop trying to find CDs. It was no shadiness. I'm not dissing the album. I'm bigging the album.
I ain't think you dissing the album, but you being shady and you know it. But that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead. All
right. So all I was saying was that I don't even think a lot of people know there was an actual album that was released, because people just saw the Unplugged. Like, they didn't even think about all that stuff. But like JR,
Unplugged, was it released as an album? Was LL's an album?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Mariah's was an album. I don't know about LL and Tribes. I know Mariah's was an album.
Yeah. I don't know if LL's was.
Maxwell's was. So I don't know if a lot of people know this. So like JR was saying, like, they didn't even do the Christopher Williams would Come On and Go With Me. They didn't show those joints. So a lot of people don't even know. He said on his Unplugged
that he went into Andre Harrell's show, Unplugged, not Unsung. and he went into Andre Harrell like office and went crazy because he was like, "How you not gonna let them play any of my part?" And Andre Harrell was like, "Yo, this is MTV. What am I supposed to do? Like, I can't do nothing." But yeah, Christopher was pissed.
So that's one of my joints. Another joint right here that nobody really ever talks about, the What's the 411 remix album. Like, this is the joint right there. Yeah, you got, I mean, yeah.
I know that's right, Eddie. I know that's right.
Slept on joint right here. Like, all the remixes off of this, like, was just crazy.
Right over there.
What you call it, right? My Love,
With,
right?
Yeah, I mean, everything. The only remixes I really didn't like was the slow songs. You know what I mean? Like, but all the fast songs, I mean, you don't have to worry is on here. My Love, Real Love, you know, reminisce with Pete and CL on here, all of that stuff, and nobody really talks about this. Again, I'm the only person. Again, JR, this is a brag because again, you're not finding this on CD nowhere. The original Finesse and Quist joint. You know what I mean?
Talking about that today. She was
I'm telling you, they fell down the cracks of being a broke salt and pepper, but they were right there with them. I mean, because they got the whole MCM because they were like a broke salt and pepper. I mean, like
really,
yeah, they was like a broke salt and pepper. Like the same thing. You had Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and you had DJ Cash Money and Marvelous. You know, I don't know which one came first. You know, but you know they were like the same group. But the single on here was Soul Sisters, which has a video, so you can watch Soul Sisters.
I remember that. I still love that video, yo.
I remember that.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, hell yeah. And the other joint that's on here, Soft But Deadly, that was the B side of Soul Sisters, which was crazy. Here's the craziest thing about this. I'm in the gym listening to it one day, and I'm like, did you just say Said G on the SP1200? Said G from Ultramagnetic did Soft But Deadly on here, on Uptown.
Wow.
That blew my mind. I was like, Said G did that? Which makes sense because the joint is hard, but I'm just like, yo, how did Said G connect with them or whatever? The last one I got is a joint. A lot of people didn't know that came out, and it's called A Night at Natalie's. And my CD is lost somewhere in here in this house, somewhere in the attic or something. But Night at Natalie's was basically like a New York Undercover soundtrack. Like if you remember at New York Undercover at the end of that episode, they were at Natalie's. And this album had Tina Marie singing Wishing on a Star. It had Brownstone singing Don't Ask My Neighbor. Escape was singing DeBarge's All This Love. The boy Michael DeLorenzo, the one who played Torres, actually is singing Don't Let Me Be Lonely Tonight by the Isley Brothers. Gerald Levert is doing A Song for You. 112 is doing Earth, Wind, and Fire's After the Love Is Gone. Very, very dope joint. You know what I mean? Very, very dope joint. And again, it's just based off of the whole Natalie's Club that they would be at every time on New York Undercover. Okay.
Look that up. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. I actually saw it on eBay last night. The cheapest one they had was $30. Like I said, I'm gonna probably buy it if I can't find it because it's a dope CD. Fave memories of just Andre Harrell or Uptown. Like for instance, for me, New York Undercover. That's just a favorite memory. JP, you was at Morgan. Let me explain something to y'all. On Thursdays at 9 o'clock, like campus was empty. Like everybody was tuned in. This was like the Cosby Show when you was a kid. Like I don't care what was going on. You was in the house at 8 o'clock to watch Cosby. You was in somebody's dorm room, in somebody's apartment, watching New York Undercover. Nobody was taping that shit. Like I watch it late. No, nobody. I don't think no drugs got sold in Baltimore. Nothing happened. Like I would love to see a study of drug dealing during 9 to 10 during New York Undercover. Because I don't think no drugs were sold. Nothing moved. Nobody did nothing. Nobody was having sex. Nobody was getting high. Nobody was making beats. For that 1 hour, everybody was tuned into Fox. So it was just seeing that. And one of the favorite scenes off of New York Undercover was when Ice-T killed Sandra, killed JT's girl. If y'all remember that.
So petty. Oh God. Oh.
Yeah, I remember that.
Great scene. And the thing I loved about it is that Montel Jordan is singing Bobby Caldwell's "What You Won't Do for Love" during that scene. And that's just one of my favorite songs, Bobby Caldwell. Montel Jordan, I'm not a big fan, but he didn't even do it that bad. But that's the only reason why I always put the two and two together, because that joint was dope. And then again, just Uptown Unplugged. Like I just thought that was such a dope to see Jodeci kind of do lately was just incredible. You know, see Devontae sit there and play the piano, you know what I mean? And sit there and, you know, have them like do a great Stevie Wonder song, you know, I felt like was just dope. You know what I mean? Even for my mom, it was like, oh, okay, they can sing. You know, like it was like there's some talent there. You know what I mean? Kind of like, and I feel like that with Mary on the Waiting to Excel soundtrack with that song, that Not Gonna Cry took Mary to a whole new demographic. Like people's mothers started liking Mary and people's grandmothers started liking Mary. I just felt like that was like a good moment for Jodeci to kind of show, you know, we can do this, y'all. JP, what's some of your favorite memories of Uptown or, you know, just Andre Harrell or?
For Andre, because being that he was the CEO, he was never really in the forefront. So specific Andre memories, I don't have many of those, but having happened because of him, like you just said, that MTV Unplugged was so huge. Yo. Like I feel like it was probably my favorite one out of all of them. You know, like you said, lately was incredible for those who couldn't really tell that Casey and JoJo could really sing. If you didn't know before then, you knew after that. And the duet with Mary and Casey, you could tell there was some tension when they were singing. Like they might have fought before they started walked out on stage.
Right.
But they did that duet so well. It was so like I watched that shit over and over. Like, yo, there's something going on between these two. Like you could really tell it. And that was like, yo, that's real right there. And that's always been one of my favorite memories of them two doing that duet on live on MTV Unplugged.
Right. What about you, Jay Bishop?
I'm a big aesthetics person, so I just want to take a moment to talk about the Uptown label design. That cat,
come
that
on,
leaning cat. I you know, it's something when I saw that label, I recognized it as something unique. And listening to the music, I started mentally putting a level of quality to things associated with that label. So I would see that label. I was like, oh, I'm gonna check it out just because it's on Uptown. Just seeing that label. So I just I'm gonna pull this record out. So just looking at, can you get that? There you go. Just the way that's designed, the kind of graffiti looking design of the Uptown. And like I said, that mascot, that cat, was a very unique design for a label, and it really stood out. So that's what I think about. When I think about Uptown, I think about that label design.
Right. That's so dope that you brought that up because so many labels back in the day had that. You know, like whether it was the Def Jam with the tone arm from the turntable, like you said, just you saw the cat, you knew something dope was coming with it. So that's real dope. JR, what about you? Memories?
Really, it was like y'all said, it was the MTV Unplugged when I got to actually see Andre Harrell and all that. But I will never forget when it comes to Mary, What's the 411? And he says, you know, the intro of What's the 411, and everybody's talking, and he comes in and he say, I'm the CEO, I'm the, you know, the chairman. Like Andre lets you know who he is when it's, you know, when it comes to Uptown or Mary's, you know, What's the 411 intro. And from there, it just, to me, it's just, he just was, I feel like with him creating Uptown, it was for me to kind of connect more again when I said in the beginning with my mom and my dad, because he was more hip hop. My mom was R&B music. So Andre knew to put the two together, and so a lot of the albums that was played, you know, from Uptown artists, it was able to be played because everybody was like, all right, this works. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, okay, my mom would play an R&B album, my dad would be like, come on with this shit here. Like, I want to hear some hip hop. And then when my dad would play hip hop, my mom would be like, well, where's the R&B at? So it was, you know, with Uptown, it was able to kind of mix the two together. So that's really a big memory of mine. And it kind of made me kind of relate to mom and dad at the same time. So that's kind of my memory of Andre Harrell.
All right. What about you, Eddie?
Yeah, man. Just a combination of what all y'all saying. I feel like the logo, you know, Jay was talking about the logo, and man, the logo is so dope because it just matches the music, the sound, the whole vibe of it perfectly. You know what I mean? And you know, kind of what JR was saying, like I could kind of relate because for me, R&B at that time, it felt like adult contemporary. You know what I mean? Like before, you know, before what Uptown did, before, you know, the hip hop soul, before the New Jack Swing, you know, R&B kind of felt like adult contemporary, you know, and then it started meshing, you know, the hip hop, you know, with R&B. You know, and I grew up in New York, so I remember you know, hearing the mixes and you know what DJs were doing on the radio and all that, and some of the mixtapes, you know, like my older cousins had and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it was totally urban. Kind of brought that, you know, Mary J and you know, Guy with the New Jack Swing and all that. Then New York Undercover, man, that was hands down still one of my favorite shows of all time. It was just a moment, like, you know, like you said, Kill. Like I wasn't in college at the time, but it was just that show that, you know, the whole family just sat down and watched, like didn't miss an episode. It was just that dope. So yeah, man, that's what it is.
Yeah, we knew New York Undercover was getting bad when Tommy came on. When Tommy came on,
Come on, hello.
when Tommy became new police chief, it was like, oh,
Don't take it seriously.
yeah. That was like that season when Martin and Tisha couldn't even be in the same room at the same time. So like every episode would be a cutaway with them trying to get to each other. It was like, nah. Now, Jay Bishop, we were talking about this a little bit before off camera. I know when I heard Andre was leaving Uptown to go to Motown, like I felt some kind of way. Like I felt like somebody was breaking up. I felt like, yo, how you leaving your baby or whatever, you know, to try to go over here and save this ship. What do you think was the science behind that? Like, you know, because I know you were speaking on it. So like, what was the science behind him leaving Uptown to want to go to Motown?
So from what I read doing a little bit of research before we started, he felt constrained by his deal with MCA. And MCA wasn't provide. He felt MCA was not providing him the financial backing to really grow the way he wanted to grow. He basically wanted to cross over. Okay. And he felt that MCA was like, you just being good, just being urban, and we're not going to give you the money to cross over and make Mary J a pop star. We're not going to give you the money to, you know, become an international, make your artists international pop stars. He wanted to basically make Mary into Mariah or Mary into Whitney and have that type of appeal. He wanted to get that white people money.
Right.
So he left because he felt that MCA was constraining him, and Motown made him I forget how much it was, but it was a huge offer. And said, you can run the show and we want you to make this as big as you could possibly make it. So,
what year was that when he started at Motown?
90.
That was 95, I believe.
Okay.
And what was, I don't even remember
95. He got an estimated, I'm looking at the article now. He got an estimated $30 million in salary and bonuses, $20 million paid up front.
That's NBA money right there. That's 95.
That's 20 guaranteed right there. That's a guaranteed contract.
Right.
And that's 95. Exactly. 95. That's a great deal in 2020. In 95, that's like hitting the lottery. Right. You know what I mean? But I don't even remember who was on Motown. Like, was he supposed to be taking it over? Was it supposed to be he was signing new artists?
Gerald Busby was the outgoing CEO, and he took over. And the biggest act on Motown at the time was Boyz II Men. Two it came out. Boyz II Men 2 it came out.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, when he took over, Boyz II Men was the big act, and of course they still had all their legacy acts.
How long was he head of Motown? How long was that?
2 years.
He was fired after 2 years because of inefficiency. He basically, you know, didn't have a big hit under his watch, and he spent a gang of money. Which goes on to everybody remembers when he took over Motown, he took out a big splash page article. I think it was in The Source and in Billboard. Yeah. I remember the ad of
with
him
the big chair.
Yeah.
Motown jacket over the back. Yeah, so
I see that poster on the subway all the time.
So reading this article, this is from the Los Angeles Times. Polygram, because Polygram owned Motown at the time. Polygram executives were taken aback by Harrell's bragging about the financial details of his Motown deal in interviews, and they frowned upon his lavish spending on office renovations, executive staff, and signing. During the first month of his tenure, he stunned executives by the amount of money he spent on self-promotion, including full-page color ads Harrell took out in trade magazines touting his new position.
I always I felt that when I started seeing those ads, I was like, this seems weird because how is a CEO? Like, we knew who he was, but he was still a CEO. And what CEO promotes themselves instead of the art? It just seems so weird. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, the funny thing for me is it when I remember seeing it, it seemed and it felt so puffy like. You know what I mean? Because when you said what CEO would promote himself, I'm like, Puff. You know what I mean? So I almost felt like he was like, I'm the star of this show.
So like, I'm going to read you a quote. This is from an interview Andre Harrell did with Vibe magazine. I don't have the date right here, but I'm just going to read you a quote from Andre. This is from Andre Harrell being asked about his philosophy. The thing is that Berry Gordy led the way with the idea that the label head becomes the image of the label. Myself, I allowed whatever celebrity occurred in my career to happen through the artist. I was consistent with the kinds of artists who were on my label. After a while, it was like, who's behind all this? I was behind all this. Going into Motown, my plan is this. When you think of Motown now, you're going to think of Andre Harrell. I'm not going to work for Motown. I'm going to be Motown in the way I dress, the records I put out, the causes I choose to get involved with, the artists from the past, the artists who are there now, and the artists in the future. When I lived Uptown Records, I'm going to live Motown Records. So
now the problem is if you want to do that, you can't go to an iconic label like Motown and expect for people to think of you. Motown's already iconic. Like, he's tripping. He
right. Because it's one thing if you do that with a label you started.
Thank you. Because it was like when he said that when they wanted Big to kind of be like Heavy D.
Right.
MCA wanted Big to be like Heavy D. And he said no, he didn't want to change who Big was. So then he ended up firing Puff and saying, look, go and make money with this dude because MCA wants to really change his image and change him to Heavy. So I'm like, if you knew this is what the big labels wanted to do, why would you leave Uptown and go to Motown with a label that really don't need you, and you're gonna go there and do all this promotion and do all this extra stuff, and they really didn't need you?
Well, I mean, at the time, I would say Motown needed him because at that time, but the thing is JR, when we think of Motown, Motown's always going to be synonymous with people who are 70 years old right now.
Right.
Like, that's it. But if you're still a label and you still want to be relevant, then you need Andre Harrell, because what's the probably last good album Motown put out? What, maybe 79? We talking about 95 now. So if you as a label want to still be big.
But wasn't Boys and Men really?
Yeah, the Boys and Men.
That was their only seller.
But that's it. That's it. And you know, Boys the Men was, I mean, I guess by that time they was off Biv 10 and or whatever by the time it came out. But as just far as a label, when you're thinking labels, when you thought of Bad Boy, you're like, oh, Biggie, Craig Mack, Puff, you know, Total. You're thinking numerous groups. If all they had was Boys the Men, they didn't need him. And then why leave? $30 million in 1995 is why I'm leaving. Because by this time, Mary was straight on MCA. Remember, Jodeci had gotten with
Suge Knight got into that.
Jodeci got into it with Suge, and then got some of their royalties and stuff back. Mary and them felt like they was being jerked. So now your name is kind of being dragged in the mud. Guy is done. Heavy's not hitting like heavy was
Like
hitting
he used
before.
to, right.
So if you lose Mary, you lost Jodeci. Guy is done. All these people we've talked about are gone.
Right.
So if I got an escape plan with 30 million guaranteed over here, I'm out. You know what I mean? And maybe he just felt like, yo, when I started in 85, it wasn't about the producer or the executive producer.
Right.
Now in 95, we all know Suge, you don't want the executive producer all dancing in your videos.
True.
So now you got Jermaine Dupri, who everybody, by the time 95 came, you knew who the label head was.
Right. Right.
In 1984, nobody knew who Russell Simmons was. You know what I mean? We knew Run DMC. So I think also Andre was probably like, okay, well, this is the new way to do business. It's all about me. It probably just, and then you give me $30 million in 2020, it's gonna go to my head. You give a nigga 30 million guaranteed in 1995.
And let's keep it in perspective. Andre Harrell was 59 years old. So when this happened, he was 34.
True. True.
Yeah.
True.
You a kid. You a 34-year-old kid with $30 million guaranteed. You know what I mean? So when you look at it like that, like good looking for that, JP. When you look at that age at it, like, yo, you had to, it's like how you give these NBA dudes $30 million and expect them not to lose their mind. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. Let's look at this real quick. I did this, and this is probably a piss poor thing of what I really want to do. But when you think of Guy, like I was trying to find like the people that come from Guy. So you got from Guy, you got Teddy Riley. Then from Teddy Riley, you just got the whole New Jack Swing. You know, to kind of put in mind just everything that came from that. So you got Guy, you got Aaron Hall, Teddy Riley, New Jack Swing, Keith Sweat, Bobby. From Teddy came Blackstreet. What else do y'all think spawned off from the Guy piece of Uptown Records?
I got Xander Man, Redhead, Boy George.
There you go. There you go. There you go with the New Jack Swing. That's my Rex Effects joint right there.
I forgot he did a song with James Ingram.
Yo, you got Rex and Effect. You got Rex and Effect right there. That was my joint too, Jay Bishop. That New Jack Swing joint. He ran down everybody. And my main man Bobby Brown, like let's go. So yeah, who else do y'all have who came from that Guy branch? I mean, we know Aaron had 2 solo albums, which wasn't bad. I actually like his second solo album. He has a duet with Faith on that. That's bananas. You know what I'm saying? So the second Aaron Hall, and I know the first song is all about that I miss you, where his girl dies and everything like that.
That video was scary as hell.
Well, that's because you was like 8 years old, bro. Like, I mean,
I'm glad you got the year right. Good job.
Yeah, see, I know it. You were 8. That was scary shit out of me too. If the girl you with, she die of labor, like, and then you in the cemetery, like nobody was thinking when you heard I miss her, like somebody gonna die. This one broke up or something. So,
but you know it's awesome that all these years, everybody who's seen that video still could talk about that video. Like I remember what I was when I seen it.
Because nobody was expecting it. Nobody was expecting that. Like it was like, yo, this chick really died. Like, yo, this is like Rainbow and Beach Street. Like how the shorty gonna die? So do y'all feel anybody else kind of came from that Guy tree? You know what I mean?
Well, for real, we got to get the Neptune because they came
out of Teddy Riley. Good point. So you got the whole Pharrell camp under Teddy, which is crazy too. That's crazy. Then we said
you got to say the Swing Mob crew, especially from Timberland and Missy, because if it wasn't for Jodeci, we were just
doing with Guy right there, but we're gonna do Jodeci next. So I had Jodeci. I'm sorry. Kind of branched off with the KC and JoJo and they solo stuff. You got Devontae under Devontae. You got Tim and Missy with Alina, Player, Magoo, Tweet. That whole situation. Not just to mention the spinoff groups of Jodeci with Jagged Edge, Drew Hill, and other people who followed in their footsteps. And anybody else we missing under the Jodeci Swing Mob, situation. I mean, so many people came up under Tim and Missy. We could be here for
I
got Player. I definitely got Player. Player was on there, and who was my man who passed away with the pen? Whose pen was nasty?
Static.
Static. Yeah, definitely Static under him. Mary J. Blige. I just got hip hop soul. Like it's just everything, and just any and everybody who just came up under that, because there's so many people who just came under that.
I mean, you could say that Andre Harrell, he started that hip hop soul, like not just New Jack Swing, but hip hop soul as well.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like This dude has basically started 2 genres of music. What are you gonna say, JR?
Well, he didn't really know what to do with Mary at first.
Okay.
And then it took when he got Puff as the intern.
Right.
Puff took her off the shelf because he was like, Andre was like, all right, well, pick somebody that you want to kind of be your guinea pig and see what you can do with him. And he was like, all right, I'm going to take her. I'm going to take Mary. Because you know she was doing background for Father MC and everybody. So he was like, all right, I'll grab her. And that was like his project, and it worked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like Andre Harrell, he went to Slow Bomb and was like, yo, she got talent, but I don't know what to do with her. Because during that time you had Whitney and Mariah and Mary ain't them. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. That's a genius, knowing that he didn't know what to do with her.
Right.
Like, young dude, he know what to do with her. Let me give him his.
Right. He was like, all right, I'm gonna give him to her.
Yeah.
Work with her.
Instead of forcing, like, I could do it. I could make her a star. I could do it. Some people don't want to let go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mary probably would have stayed on the shelf if it wasn't for Andre thinking like, yo, you can work with her. What can you do with her?
Right.
And I mean, too, I think the key is keeping smart. I always tell people, I want to have smart people around me. Yeah. My pastor always taught me, don't be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I like keeping y'all folk around me who's smart and know shit that I don't. So, I mean, I think that's also part of being a person, which will tie right into, what do you feel like Andre Harrell's legacy is going to be? You know what I mean? I know for me, I just think of like one of the dopest visionaries and execs ever. And I say visionary because he was able to let Puff do what he wanted to do, you know, because somebody else may have said, come on, singing over top billing, you taking some old mixtape shit off the corner and trying to push it, like, you know, so even though it wasn't his idea, you got to be a visionary to even see, hey, you know, this could happen, you know what I mean? Or the same thing with Guy. And, you know, for me, he had this quote that I saw and it said, figure out what you love and then get to work. I love that quote. We can end right there, but then he keeps going and he says, then when you're my age, you can sit back and make all the calls. You can call the shots. But I love the quote of just, so figure out what you love and get to work. I can end it right there because too many people out here, they know what they love, but then they don't get to work, you know, or they don't put in the hard work behind it. So I think that quote is so crazy. And again, just one of the greatest label heads I think, you know, will ever know. I always say this, that I feel like for some reason there's always only room for one. You know what I mean? So like, you know, JP, if you remember when Jay and Big first came out, it was like, who do you love more? You know, it is like Big or anything, you know, when Stephon and Allen came out of college at the same time, same type of point guard, but everybody loved Allen, you know, or it's always got to be one. And I feel like when we think of 80s or even mid 90s, you know, record exec, we go to Russell and that's it. Like we just say Russell Simmons and that's it. Then when we go to the 90s on, we say Puffy and that's it, you know, and then, but I feel like Andre is right. Parts of me feel like Andre may have even been better than Russell. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's like sacrilegious, but I mean, like, I don't even think it should be it was Russell and then Andre. If anything, we got to put them on the same. We got to put them on the same airplane. We got to put them on the same private jet.
I would definitely agree with that because Andre did hip hop and R&B.
Yeah,
it was just hip hop for the most part initially. You know,
and truth be told, when you really start peeling back the onion of Def Jam, a lot of that was Rick. You know, a lot of them early License to Ill, It Takes a Nation, you know, LL's Radio. A lot of the foundation of that was Rick.
And wasn't Andre really the vice president of this?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about in terms of the music that's coming out from the label. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know how like you may say, like, I know when Jay took over Def Jam, you know, and it was like his big thing was he signed Neo and Rihanna. And those were like the two big artists he was pushing. Rick was the one who signed LL and the Beastie Boys and calling Chuck every day trying to get him to sign to the label. You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff was really kind of Rick. And I don't know if y'all saw the Beastie Boys documentary on Apple TV. If y'all haven't seen it, watch it. Incredible documentary. I had no idea that after License to Ill, Russell and Rick stopped paying them. because they was like, I forgot what the discrepancy was, but they was like, that's why we bounced off of Def Jam, because and then come to find out that Ad Rock did a lot of the production for License to Ill. Like that Rick Rubin didn't have anything to do with it. You know what I mean? So very, very dope documentary to check out if you haven't checked it out yet. But yeah, when I think of Andre, I think of a huge label head. And again, if we give Russell credit, we got to give the same exact credit to Andre. Jay Bishop, what about you? What do you think Andre Harrell's legacy will be?
I'm not sure what it will end up being, but I believe that he should be looked at along with the top music executives in the game. When you think of the Clive Davises and the Tommy Mottolas, you should think of Andre Harrell. His legacy is just as dope and just as deserving as those guys. And you should be looking up at him with the Berry Gordies. Mm-hmm. You should be looking at him with, some might argue Puff surpassed him. I don't think so. But you should be looking up at him with the Puffs. Yeah. And he should be, I don't know if there's I think he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I agree.
No, I agree.
If Clive Davis is in there, then Andre should be in there because he accomplished a great deal just and built it from the ground up, and that should be respected.
Nah, I totally agree with that. And I don't know why we always have that one mentality, like why it's only one. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why, Steph and Allen couldn't come out and just everybody loved them both the same, or it's always, I feel like it's always just one spot. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that one spot. And I'm like, yo, we gotta, definitely give that to Andre Harrell too. So that's a great point of being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What about you, JP?
I don't really know what the numbers are as far as sales, and what the millions are as far as sales of Uptown as it compares to the other CEOs of other labels. But one thing you can't quantify is what he meant to the culture. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think,
my God,
when you think about what he meant to us, like we have to speak out for him, because the powers that be will never recognize it if his numbers ain't the same. Like they're like when there are songs that go number one, and then there's songs that don't go number one, but they mean more to the culture than songs that might have went number one.
Yep.
I think that's where Andre is. So I don't know if, like I said, I don't know what the millions of numbers of records sold under the label is, but as far as what he meant to the culture, like I think he'll never be looked on the big levels like the Clive Davises and whoever else that ran big labels. But for us, we know what he meant. You know what I'm saying? And as long as we keep speaking about him, that's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Right. What about you, JR?
I just feel that, like JP said, I just feel like Andre Harrell was for us. He was for the culture, and he let the artists be who they wanted to be. Like he let Jodeci be who they were. You know what I'm saying? He let Mary be who she was. He let a lot of Heavy D be who they were. He was for the culture, and he didn't let because he had a deal with MCA. Once MCA started coming down and saying, well, this artist needs to be that and this artist needs to be that, he was like, no, I'm gonna let them be who they are and let them succeed in who they are. And he was for the culture. And like he said, like JP said, he's not going to be up there with the Clive Davis and the Tommy Mottolas and all this because they sold millions and millions and millions of records. But when it comes to us and it comes to our culture, he represented us. And I like the fact that he was the one that bridged R&B and hip hop together, because I don't think, like he said in his MTV Unplugged, he said, you had some people in the hood that loved R&B, and you had some people in the hood that loved hip hop. But once these young kids came in, they started to really embrace the hip hop culture, but they loved R&B music. So he was like, we gotta tap into that.
Right.
And I just love that he was just for the culture. And for me, I would put him up there with the Clive Davises, because him as a visionary,
absolutely,
that he can't be denied. And again, he's not gonna be up there when we talk about the big ones up there. But for our culture, for our culture, you know, he's gonna be up there for me. He's top because for me, he really bridged R&B and hip hop for me, and he made me love both. You know what I'm saying? When I had a mom and dad that loved both, and he was able to bridge that, he's top dog for me. So he was for the culture, and I love it. And like I said earlier, what he did for Big, you know, MCA wanted because Big was signed to Uptown first.
Well, actually, Big got dropped from Uptown. I mean,
because they wanted him to be a heavy D, and that's not him.
Well, they kind of dropped him because of that Dreams of fucking R&B chick. Like
well,
that.
yeah, because
I'm dead ass because
because a lot of them artists was on MCA.
Right. So when they heard when Patti LaBelle was like, wait, what? Who's fucking me? Oh no, he got to go, y'all.
But Andre was like, I'm not gonna let Biggie sell out for y'all.
Right.
I'm gonna let him be who he is. So that's somebody that's letting him be of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like he's letting them be like let me
ask a question because I've never heard that version before. The version I've heard was again, Puff is getting too big for his britches.
He was.
You know what I mean? I never heard the Andre let Biggie go like, oh, go fly and go do you. I heard the version I heard was Puff is getting the fuck on my nerves, nigga. You think this your label? This shit ain't. Roll with your artist and get out.
When I knew we was doing this, I watched a couple of interviews, and he did this interview with, I forgot who the guy was, and he did an interview, and he said that, you know, MCA really wanted to change Big, and he said yes, Puff was starting to get, you know, once Mary blew up, once he helped Jodeci blew up, he was walking around the label like I'm that guy. So he said once he was throwing Biggie at him like, yo, this dude, we need to, you know, really get on him. So Andre went to MCA and was like, yo, this is the next hip hop artist we want to push. And MCA was like, no, he's too hard. We're not going to deal with him. And that's when Andre was like, you know what? I need to fire Puff because now he's too much. And then he got somebody that I know can make a lot of money if he really promote him the right way. And he let Puff go. And he went to Puff and told him, I'm not firing you because you're not making me any money. I'm firing you because I know what you can do with Big. Because if you can do what you did to Mary, you can do what you did to Big. And that's when he was like, I'm going to let you go. And once Puff took what Andre and he saw what Andre was doing with Uptown, he was like, I'm going to do that with Big. And I'm going to kind of make Big a quote unquote heavy. Because if you think about it, a lot of Big's big singles.
I totally agree. I just think there may be some embellishment on that story from Andre's perspective.
Oh, absolutely. Come on.
If I want to just let you go to have wings, Puffy, I'm not going to fire you. Like, I remember reading Vibe magazine being like, oh, shit, this nigga got fired. Like,
I just wish Andre would have just said, nigga, you walking around the freaking...
But that's what you got to do.
Sound like you that guy.
Right.
Like,
you got to embellish some stuff sometimes. So I'm
absolutely.
Right, man. Eddie, what's your legacy or your memory, or what do you think Andre Harrell's legacy will be?
Yeah, man. I think definitely, like whatever he said, man, he's iconic. I mean, you know, both Andre Harrell and Uptown. I wonder if had he stuck around Uptown, you know, when it got tough. I know, I can't blame him for chasing that money, you know, that Motown money. Can't blame him. That's a lot of damn money. But I wonder, like, would the legacy of both him and the label have gone to the next level had, you know, he stuck it out with Uptown, maybe got through some rough patches, maybe they have another resurgence, you know, who knows? But, you know, we see what happened at Motown. One of the things that kind of bothers me, what I was seeing when Andre Harrell passed was, you know, obviously there's an association with Puff, but a lot of the articles was like, you know, Puffy's mentor passes away, you know, framing it that way.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Puff is the big name, and Andre is, the guy who helped him get on that path. But Andre was a beast and all in his own. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think what Uptown did, I mean, everyone said for the culture, I mean, immensely, and just like you all said, having a label like that where, everyone is of and in the culture, you don't have an outside label exec that don't know, the inside and outs, they're just, trying to find out what's popular and, doing everything based on that. It's like, nah, we're going to make what's hot, we're going to make, what we feel. And like, I think like you guys saying, trusting the artists, trusting their talent, trusting what they were bringing to the table, to have, Teddy Riley doing his thing, to have Mary and, let her do her thing, and Jodeci and, everyone else, I felt like they did it their way. And when you look at that label, I felt like that's why they had so much dope music, and can't forget about Heavy D. I mean, Heavy D being the larger than life figure he was, So yeah, man, I think it could have been more of instantly recognizable, one of those labels that, is the first one mentioned, had he maybe stuck it out, like I said, and maybe if they had another resurgence, had more longevity there, instead of what wound up happening.
And I think too, the other thing that I think prayerfully what'll happen is because I don't think a lot of people actually knew how much music was on Uptown.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just throughout the, couple of weeks, all I kept seeing was just, Mary and Jodeci. You know what I mean? Mary and Jodeci. I knew a couple of people who didn't even know Heavy D was on Uptown.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I think that there's going to be more people digging in the crates. I knew people who didn't know Albie Shore was on Uptown. You know what I mean? Because keeping in mind, like JP, we're around the same age. So, Albie's coming out when we're 12. The average shorty who's our age ain't looking at the record label. They just staring at the cover of Albie Shore. You know what I mean? Like the average, the average person isn't looking at the back of, Living Large with Heavy D, like, oh, what's the label? And who's that? So I think so much of when even people our age think of Andre Harrell, they'll be shocked to watch this show and be like, yo, I had no idea Guy was on the label, that Heavy D was on the label, because I think right now it's always Mary and Jodeci. Like those are the two names that are synonymous. And it's beautiful because here's the great part. People are loving this man just off of Mary and Jodeci. So what happens when you find out, nigga, they had Heavy, they had Guy, they had this, they had that. Like, that should bring even more love. But I feel like a lot of times with Andre, I feel like what happens with Dilla. So many times people don't know what Dilla did. When I did my YJ Dilla Changed My Life show, every comment was, I had no idea he did at least 20 songs. Like, and I think that that's prayerfully what will happen with a show like this and more shows from other people like this, for people to be like, yo, I had no idea. Because when you really think about the longevity, Ed, you're talking really from 87 to damn near 95. That's an 8-year run, which is almost unheard of in music. You know what I mean? Like, that's almost unheard of. Most people get a good 2 to 3 year run, and then, we're done. So Def had a good 2-3 year run, and then it was kind of like, they came back with Jagged Edge. But that whole Brat crisscross thing only lasted but so long. So I think that that's the great thing about Andre Harrell. And more importantly, I appreciate y'all doing the show. Definitely wanted to do something that we could do this. We could educate folk on everything that this man has done and everything like that. Jay Bishop, give them all the information. Where can they get at you? Music, everything.
You can find all my music at latepastmusic.bandcamp.com. I got an album called Steppers, which is a old school boogie funk album coming out July 3rd. And I'm probably going to start opening up pre-orders. If you want to pre-order that, I'm going to start opening pre-orders up on the 5th of June. And you can find me on the socials, Twitter, IG, everything, J Bishop Funk. J Bishop Funk.
Now tell me this, good brother. Break down what this new album is again for me.
This album is...
No, what you just said. Like, you just said it like a New Jack Swing. What is it? You said
backyard is old school backyard cookout funk. Is that That funk.
Nah. You said something else, and I want to tag that.
Boogie funk.
Okay, boogie funk. What is boogie funk? Break that down. Like
boogie funk is,
Tell them, Jay.
white people always got to generalize or give a name to a genre. So
right.
I think the term boogie came out of the UK, and boogie refers to the type of black music that came out post disco era.
Oh yeah,
like 80s.
Yeah.
Where it was basically a disco song slowed down without the four on the four. So if you think about like any type of like disco, like Sylvester or Chic, the Chic records, kind of take that and slow it down by 10 BPMs, and instead of doing four on the floor, you had a shifting beat, and it was basically electronic instruments. So you think about a classic boogie record would be Shalimar's "A Night to Remember." That's a boogie classic.
Yes.
Second time around, he does Leon Silver's, because Leon Silver's is like the Teddy Riley of boogie,
and he's so underrated.
So Leon Silver's early Solar productions, Kashif, any of the Kashif productions, and going into the the early Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis era when they was doing the SOS band stuff, all that would be considered that into that boogie genre.
Okay, and what you got coming is boogie funk.
Right. I can't wait for this album. You got a title for it yet? You got a title for it yet?
It's called Steppers.
Steppers.
Because it's basically it's that two-step boogie.
Oh, I got my red cup ready.
All right, no doubt. That's dope. JP, where can they get at you, good brother?
Instagram, Twitter, JPaz Music, JPAZ Music. Or you can hit the website, jpazmedia.com.
All right, JR, give them everything, good brother.
All right, check me out at Junior World of Soul on Instagram, Junior World of Soul on YouTube. I do current R&B bangers. I give y'all 4 to 6 bangers every week. Let y'all know that R&B is alive and well. Please believe that. You can catch me on Music Soul Nick on Twitter. That's music with a Q. And My Life is the Best album on Uptown. Ain't it, Jay?
And you're gonna just keep poking the bear, man.
I'm not letting Jay live that down.
I know he's not.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what I love about this? I always tell people I don't believe in coincidences, because there was no coincidence that I had you and Jay Bishop on the show at the same time when he called me My Life a karaoke album. See that?
You did not even know that was my favorite.
See, I didn't know, but the thing was, I didn't know he was gonna say that. I didn't know nothing, and it just came together. Because if I went back and told you, like, yo, my man was on the show when he said this about Mary, y'all needed to be in the same space at the same time. So it's just like
that really hurt my feelings.
Hey, I tell you this, I now call Mary's My Life Friday night at Bennigan's, because that's the karaoke.
You see what I'm saying? Kill is underlined shady. Y'all not catch his shit. He's underlined shady with it. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
I love My Life, but at the same token, I can make it's a joke. I think his shit is funny. He thinks it's karaoke. When I think of karaoke, I think Friday night at Bennigan's. It's just a joke. I still love the album. It's one of the greatest albums ever, in my opinion. But again, like I tell everybody on Twitter, music speaks to us all differently.
That's true.
So when people
be knowing his shit though, he do.
People tell me
feature presentation though. I ain't gonna lie, I've been rocking to it, Jay. I ain't gonna lie.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yes,
that was a beat tape I put out 2019, and it's basically I sampled all the music that we're basically talking about now. A lot of New Jack Swing era joints were the sampling sources that I used to make the beats on this album feature presentation. You can find that at latepastmusic.bandcamp.com, and it's on all the streaming services if you're cheap.
Homesick is my joint. Homesick is it.
Yo, Eddie, give him everything, good brother. Where can they get at you?
On Twitter at EddieD80 and on Instagram at Eddie Got Soul.
No doubt, no doubt. Y'all already know it is with me on Twitter, Kill Apartment 5B. On Instagram is Kill889. Y'all know me, I'm a bookworm. Just got this in the mail the other day. Dustin Grooves, if you are a digger, you are just talking about pounds and pounds of pages of just records and different people's record collections. So very, very dope book if you want to get it. I want to say when this dropped, it was like 80, which is why I wasn't paying no $80 for a book. But I think this was on Amazon for like $30. I'm not paying $80 for a book, y'all. Especially
what is it called?
It's Dustin Grooves Adventures in Record Collecting, and it's EILON Paz. Island Paz, I think. Okay. So, but brand new, $30 on Amazon. I can do that for a picture book. I'm not paying $80 for no book with just pictures. But so definitely, y'all. I will get with y'all next week, y'all. Good looking out, y'all.
Peace. All right. Peace.
Peace.